Hey yo, was good? People was good. Wait, first, this show was dedicated to lemon pound cake, a great strain. Check it out. Yes. Well, anyway, like I said, thank you for being here. Today, I wanna take the time to explore racism, and a lot of people seem to not really understand that when they call Donald Trump a racist, they're actually allowing racism to hide because you're just pointing out a bigot. A bigot is someone who is like the vanguard of racism. You understand what I'm saying? Racism is a system that a bigot stands on, like he's proud of, where the racist is discreet and he knows that the pressure is on you, so he don't have to be that. You understand what I'm saying? He's only that. You only see like a Karen, Sharon, or whatever the fuck people are calling them. You only see that when when the more you might act like you them. Like the more you start saying I pay my taxes. Okay? When you start saying that, you start thinking that you them. Like, okay, we pay our taxes, but our taxes is the majority. You just pay taxes. Our taxes are the taxes that's the movers and shakers. You see what I'm saying? Um, Susan, Susan works in the codes building. You understand what I'm saying? She's a city planner. She designs where the ghetto and all of that's gonna be. We have Lucy who works at the head of the board of education, right? And we have Tom who's over in parks and playgrounds, and all of these things are the different structures of your life. So then when you see a skate park in the Bronx with like just a little corner, right? But then you'll go over to like downtown Manhattan or Chelsea and all of that, and you look at their playgrounds, their skate park, and you be like, oh wow, big difference. You see what I'm saying? Cause those are the movers and shakers who can make that happen. So when you say your tax dollars is like somebody laughing because they just spent um, $20,000 on the mill, and you gave $50, and you saying, well, I put 50 in. That's how they looking at you. Not to say that it should be viewed that way, but that's how it's looked when you turn around and try to use their sayings. Oh, my tax dollars, and then that's when you know these crooked cops and all of that feel like they must remind you that this is beyond just you paying money, because I'm gonna show you through these stories of, okay, dudes is paid. What that got to do with this? You know what I'm saying? So if you don't set up a system of people that can rely on each other and not a system of, oh yeah, now that you win, we can make sure that you rub elbows with the right. You see what I'm saying? Introducing you to cooning and all of that. Whereas you could be inside a circle like my brother's out in Detroit, like the New Era movement. You understand what I'm saying? You could be a part of that, right? But no, they'll tell you, you get into this circle and you can rub elbows and this, that, and the third. Big difference. You understand what I'm saying? So, and dudes are be inside organizations and all of that and thinking that those organizations gives them a pass and it doesn't, you still catch a bad one. You understand what I'm saying? So now we'll look over into Francis McIntosh. The burning of Francis McIntosh was the lynching of a mulatto boatman in St. Louis, Missouri in April 28th, 1836. Right? It says it's just complicated, like death and one constable, deputy sheriff, and wounding another. So, if we look at this, let me open this in a new window, right? So, let me look over here. Now, you probably won't see all of this since it's small and it's stretched out. But it goes, Lewis was age 26. He was from Pittsburgh. He worked as a porter and cook, and a steamboat Flora arrived. See, a lot of times I tell people to, a lot of the most um, lucrative jobs, somebody with any type of real finances was doing stuff like this, working in the trains, but they were getting less money. You understand what I'm saying? It wasn't like they were getting the amount of money as their white counterparts. How could that be? When even in the Civil War, they wasn't getting the right fair pay. You understand what I'm saying? Or the Revolutionary War, any of these wars. Um, McIntosh departed on a boat in the morning to visit an African American chambermaid who worked aboard the Lady Jackson. Which, pardon me, I'm going to just glance through this. According to the captain of the Flora, as McIntosh departed the boat, two police officers were chasing another sailor who had been involved in a fight and requested McIntosh's assistance in stopping him. McIntosh did not assist the officers and was arrested for interfering in the apprehension. In the second version of events, the two sailors had been drinking and had insulted the officer, and McIntosh refused to assist in arresting the pair. Okay, so now that's McIntosh Francis. You tell me if that's not racism. Is that racist? That, but simply because you didn't assist somebody, they kill you. Is this maybe why so many black people are still being put in pressure to tell, if you don't, then you'll get it. You'll get that because you did something anyway, and all of that. This is the same system from 1836 that is operating today, right? Isn't that the same kind of thing? If you don't cooperate, you'll get it. That's probably what they hit 6ix9ine with. He was a bitch anyway, so we're not even gonna get into him and give him any passes, But think about the what is he? The husband. Now, according to Bing, right? I guess their news. Bing, according to Bing.com/news, right? Breonna Taylor's ex was allegedly offered a plea deal implicating her in a drug ring. So, you telling me these are not the same tactics that was used on McIntosh? These were not the same tactics that was used on Francis McIntosh. That's what you're telling me. You cooperate or you gonna get it. That's how the system is built. You are the underdog. So most of the time when people say crime, you wonder, well, what is it? what is crime? Because everything at this point is basically criminal just being black. Let me look at my boy Adam, an African American. A white man was murdered, and keeping with local customs, a slave man was selected to be killed. In retribution, state Supreme Court overturned conviction, but mob broke into jail where he was awaiting a new trial and hung him, defended by Olason Hart. Fuck this dude. Don't really care about him. They only talking about him because he was like some governor or some punk shit. But pay attention to that. First of all, he was only known as Adam. That's good. I'm glad he didn't take his slave master's name, but he took his slave master's I guess his slave master gave him, Adam. But fuck it. He didn't take his name though. You know what I'm saying? A white man was murdered, and keeping with local custom, a slave man was selected. That's why, like you telling me that these things is not installed into our minds. And you could say no, right? But when you look at this quote unquote crab in the barrel, right? When we say crabs in the barrel, how was that developed? The fear of, you could be the one selected. So you trying to push somebody else in a way, I guess. But I don't see that as a crab though. But I understand what they're trying to say. You understand what I'm saying? Give somebody else the nudge to like push them forward type of a thing. You understand what I'm saying? So they get the blunt of it. You know? I don't even think I can see. These are the things that was developed, constructed. You understand what I'm saying? So then let's go down here. John Taylor. This one hurt me too. John Taylor. He was 17, right? Attempted murder of his employer's wife following a wage dispute. Right? Now pay attention to this story now. Okay. John was a former slave who had been a teenage soldier for the Union. A mob dragged him from a jail, tortured him, hanged him from a tree, and mutilated and decapitated his body. No one was prosecuted. So, like here it is in 2018, a local park was named the John Park Memorial Park after him. Now, I want bloodshed. You understand what I'm saying? I don't give a fuck. If you wasn't spreading blood for me then, fuck it, spread it for me now. I want that park to be bloody. That's the only way. Shit, the mob killed me. A fucking sign don't do nothing. I mean, but that's just me. Okay, we got Wyatt Outlaw, 49, 50 years old. He's from Graham, Alabama. I mean, North Carolina. I'm sorry. Um, he was a prominent local figure. No crime was alleged. Do you understand that? No crime was alleged. Let me look into this for y'all. Wyatt Outlaw was the first African American elected to be town commissioner and constable of the town of Graham, North Carolina. He was lynched by the Ku Klux Klan in February 26 of 1870. His death, along with the assassination of white Republican State Senator John W. Stevens. Okay? Just understand this, man. You understand what I'm saying? See what's in your face. Then it says 63 indictments. But the North Carolina legislature, to end their case, repealed the law they were charged with violating. David Jones, African American, he was in Nashville, Tennessee, taken out of his prison cell and lynched by a mob on public square. Right? Now, this guy right here, David Jones, was an African American man who was lynched in Nashville, Tennessee on March 25th, 1872, after being arrested as a suspect in a killing. He was mortally wounded while in jail, shot twice in the back while resisting white mob members who came to take him out. You shot him in the back because he didn't want you to take him out and lynch him. That makes sense, right? That makes sense to me. That makes sense to y'all fellas? It makes sense to y'all too, right? Joe Reed was an African American man who was lynched in Nashville, Tennessee on April 30th, 1875, where he was taken by a white mob from a county jail after being arrested for killing a police officer in a confrontation. He was hanged from a suspension bridge, but after the rope broke, look at my man here. I want y'all to see this. Okay? Um, okay. It says he was hanging, but after the rope broke, Reed survived the lynching, escaped via the river, and left Nashville and to go west. We can go into these other stories in time. What I'm trying to show you is the structure of racism, right? It has no limitation when we talk about the police and we're talking about the 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 surroundings. It's not just the police. This is a group effort. They use the police, but just like when you seen with the protesting and them coming out with the rifles, trust me, the police officer is nothing because the police officer is Tommy, the same little punk that gets smacked up and this, that, and the third. Inside the neighborhood, their neighborhood. Their uncles, Charlies, like they all in the police force, all of these people. This it's a whole system, you know? And I'm gonna go all into this. But let me get into this. 5 unnamed men, African American, Mount Vernon, Indiana. No, Mount Vernon, Indiana. My fault. They're accused of rape, just accused of it, right? Now let me show you something here. It goes. No, that's just gonna show you just the county, but it says largest recorded lynching in Indiana. No one was indicted. Your largest lynching in history, and no one was indicted? You telling me that this happened and y'all didn't wait so this is the community's response. Their response to anything that they say black people did. The whole white community gets involved. That's racism, people. Just like you might have all of these white people who want to jump in and be in the Black Lives Matters. They had them back then. These are not new people. So sure, you got a small handful of people. Stop that, for whatever. But let's keep it G, man. Every one of them who say they don't know, all of these people that say they don't know, they lying. Because where's this whole community popping up just to hang one or two, now in this case, five black people that no trial, nothing. So they jump to this immediately. That's what they doing now. It has never stopped. It has never changed. That's racism. You might not want to accept it, but that's what racism is. You know, um, let's go into um, Bill Gilmer, African American. He's from Memphis, Tennessee. He shot his attorney, Thomas J. Wood. Shot. Gilmer was accused of shooting Wood, who had whipped Gilmer for using offensive language near his wife. Think about it. He's a black man. Well, just dealing with a legal system, period. So most likely it's over money. Because if he's black, look, they'll bump you off. They can get rid of you, beat you, do anything just because you black. So if he's dealing with this lawyer and he's beefing, it's probably over land or something like that. He's beefing. You use that to say my wife is standing here. You keep your time, nigga, whatever, because he ain't trying to be embarrassed, showing any sign of weakness. He hits the guy. Bang. Billy shot him. You understand what I'm saying? But how are we supposed to look at this? Are we supposed to say that racism is only when they say certain things or do certain things? Or can we just freely admit that racism is a system? Neville Porter and Johnson Spencer were African American men who were lynched in Starkville, Mississippi for the alleged burning of a barn. Listen, you don't have to be known to do anything, and you can get it. And like I said, there's no intervening. If there was, say, more white people who wasn't with it, this wouldn't be happening. So clearly, you can't tell me white racism has went extinct, and now there's just a few Karens out there. That don't even make sense. You understand what I'm saying? So white racism went extinct quicker than the fucking dodo bird. That's what you telling me? Like this shit just came and went. Racism, one day we just woke up. Nah, it's just a couple of them stragglers out there. We gonna get them. We gonna get a couple of the stragglers left. That's what you telling me? The jobs that you work, the stores that you go in, all of that shit ain't racist to you, right? None of that shit is racist, right? Nah. So let me just keep going. Then I'm gonna give you a couple of more. Right. Okay. See, look at this. Levi Harrington was a young African American who, in April 3rd of 1883, was abducted from police custody by a large white mob of several hundred participants and lynched in Kansas City, Missouri, hanging him from a beam on the Bluff Street Bridge and shooting him. Now, mind you, he was accused of killing the police officers, but newspapers reported he was innocent, but no one was held accountable for the lynching. The man was declared innocent. And just like before, hey, somebody got to get it. Let the niggas get it. You understand what I'm saying? That's racism. If we can't eat, you can't eat, nigga. That's racism. You know what I'm saying? That's racism. And when you see white people who say they didn't know about racism. You gotta look at them and go, are you fucking serious? You understand what I'm saying? How can you honestly say that shit? Right? Now let's look at this. Samuel Mingo Jack Johnson was an African American man falsely accused of rape. He was brutally beaten and hanged by a mob of whites, okay? Supposedly poisoning. Okay, no, this is rape. Okay, now um Eliza Woods. She's considered colored. She's from Jackson, Tennessee. Supposedly poisoning her employer. Taken from the county jail, stripped naked, hung in the courthouse yard, and her body riddled with bullets and left exposed to view. Now, did you see the situation in California, LA, where the brother was shot supposedly for reaching for a gun, right? No, 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 no. The gun dropped. They can't explain why he was shot in the back more than 20 times, and then they can't explain why he was shot in the back more than 20 times. Their argument is no, it wasn't that many bullets in the back. I did a whole different show on that anyway. But you telling me this ain't the same thing? You left that body out there for hours to let the people know this is not a game. Just like they did for her. Okay? Taken from the county jail, stripped naked, hang from the courthouse yard. Mind you, this is in the courthouse, people. That's beyond just a police officer. That's the system. You're hanging somebody at the courthouse. You understand what I'm saying? When you hear the people in jail talking about, oh, hang 'em high, such and such judge, this is why they got this name. Because they was hanging them already in the courthouse. Don't believe that shit about blue lives matter. This is be so black robes matter too, and beyond just the white robes, right? The black robes matter too, right? Fuck out of here, man. Racism is all of this shit. You understand what I'm saying? Amos Miller. Amos Miller was a 23-year-old African American man who was lynched from the balcony of the Williamson County Courthouse in Franklin, Tennessee. Are you seeing a growing pattern? Straight up lynching you. Where at? At the courthouse. Assaulting a white woman. Mind you, that was his charge. His charge was assaulting a white woman. And so what did they do? He was 23. Yanked him from this is American justice, people. This is not only the police officers racist. This is that America. Okay, this is the nah. It ain't all of them. It's just a few. This is that America. Okay. So then you wonder why I'd be more mad at us when we say this bullshit than them. Because this history is right there for you to see. You know what I'm saying? Um, Orrin Anderson, let's see. Look at this. He was lynched and hung. A derrick is a lifting device composed at minimum of one. Look at this shit. The dude was hung just for scaring a teenage white girl. He was only 14, people. Fucking teen. So then they train us to be afraid, even at 14. And so, if they can do that to him at 14, of course, the mother is gonna go and try to train her children to not be one of the victims. You see, so then now we got the talk. The same talk that they was probably giving then now was televised. Yo, the universal, this is how you supposed to put your hands. You don't, you see what I'm saying? The talk, and movies like The Hate You Give, having the nerve to use the Black Panthers 10-point system to put this suck ass fear in the people. You understand what I'm saying? Because look, it happened to my boy. He was only 14, and that's in Leesburg, Virginia, 1889. Right. So this is happening all over. This is what I'm showing you, man. Albert Martin, 23, Port Huron, Michigan, assault and rape. A mob broke into a jail cell with sledgehammers, dragged him from the jail with a noose around his neck, beat and shot him to death, then hung his corpse from a bridge. Now, y'all might see two common things, right? A lot of times people think that, lynchings was from trees, right? But when it came to us, they chose two kind of main, places. They was trying to let you know their system is a universal system. So the court system is a white system. So you getting hung at the courthouse. The second one is through the bridges because they letting you know most likely this is a sign that you shouldn't have came over in this area. Those are symbolizations, and so even when we drive and we see people like yo don't go in this town because that's universal because of this. They laid it down because of these type of things there that has left and stayed embedded inside our minds and deep inside our communities. And you can go back and your grandmama tell you, yeah, talk to your grandmama one day and find out what she say about that town, and you'll find out that the reasons why you ain't going there, it's embedded in you. That's it. So racism is a system that is applied to us and used on a regular scale. Let's see, my boy right here, Jim Taylor, was an African American man who was lynched on April 30th in Tennessee for shooting a policeman, taken from his jail cell by a mob and lynched on Murphy, forgive me, man, Road. Who we got here? Joe Cole. Okay, also known Joe Cole, also known as George Smith, was an African American man laborer who was lynched on October 10th, 1881, in Omaha, Nebraska, overwhelmed by a mob of 1,000 at a Douglas County jail. The 12 city police officers stood by without intervening. Listen to what is being said right here. The governor and the sheriff tried unsuccessfully to quiet the crowd in front of the courthouse. Piece of the lynching rope were sold as souvenirs. Do you see what that says? Joe Cole, a married man with 2 children, in Omaha, Nebraska. They said he assaulted a white girl of 5. what they said. I don't believe them. I know one thing though. It took 1,000 people, police officers, all of them. So let this story sink in the most, okay? Because it says right here. It says, okay, Smith was an African American laborer who was lynched on October 10th, 1891 in Omaha, Nebraska, overwhelmed by a mob of 1,000 at a Douglas County courthouse. So, is the police officer racist? I mean, according to this, is is the police officer the one that you would say did it, or would you say that it's the community? Do you understand that racism is a system? And as long as that system is in place, this will always take place. So every time you turn around and act like you don't know, I'm presenting to you racism. So from this point on, you might as well have turned this off a long time ago if you wasn't really trying to learn what racism is. That's just a fact. Now look at this shit right here. It says unknown boy, African American, Waldo, Florida, 1892. Suspicious suspicion of burglary and incendiarism, basically like burglary and arson. So they're saying that the boy was accused of burglary and arson, and so they hung him for that. Right, mind you, because he's black. So your life can be taken for property, not like where they convince you that, oh, you had, that's if you make it to the court system. But their system is hey, we don't really have to take him in, and we got your back if you don't make it there. Tom Moss, adult. He was from Memphis, Tennessee. Complaint, complaint from competing white grocery store owner. Yo, do you see this shit? Tom Moss, adult, African American male. This is in Memphis, Tennessee. Complaint from competing white grocery store owner. So called Culver riot, not a riot. Reported by Wells, whose newspaper was destroyed and had to leave the state. So basically, there was a riot simply because a white man had complained about a black man who was giving him competition. And so when I say to the black people out here black on black crime is just, basically white logic. Here it is most of the times dudes just sell drugs, right? And you can't be there simply because they there, right? But we could have two stores now on the same block and they're not warring. You know what I'm saying? They're not warring. But we got a war just for every little penny to fight because this is what they taught us, so we can only do it to each other. We can't do it to them for fear. Because as you can see, they installed the fear. They showed us to install the fear. So we must show that we're big and bad by installing that same fear. But only amongst each other with a system like this. This is a system. This is a system. McDowell. No, that's So McDowell, he was there too. Um, you know, All of these people right here, all of these three names you see, were caught up in that. McDowell, Moss, and Stewart Will, you know, they were all caught in that riot. Okay, I want y'all to understand that when y'all say we won't forget, yes you will, because here these people are right here, and no one is digging them up saying, "Yo, listen, for this is why I'ma stay mad, and I could never be cool ever." How could I put on a red, black, and green and say that being pro-black doesn't mean I hate white people? Then I can't be pro-black. I gotta be straight militant. If being pro-black means that I can look at a white person and say that no, he's not a part of a structure, and not have some type of feeling. Not to say that I can't laugh with. I laugh with many of white people, chill with them, mad type of shit with white people. So don't get it twisted. What I'm saying is even inside that, I still know who they are. I've never once, and they've always known being around me. He's like that. Yeah, whether they choose to still know me or not. That's just how I'm giving it up. I know what you about. And anybody around me know how I'm giving it up. So if they know but I'm not rude. I'm not. You understand what I'm saying? It's to whatever account that you give it up is how I'm giving it up. And at the end of the day, I'm still me. I'm never gonna stop and pretend to try to make you comfortable, because making you comfortable makes my people stay in a submissive stance. So I can't make you comfortable just because you hate to deal with the truth. So you want to cry and hyperventilate and fall, whatever the fuck you want to do. We not trying to hear. I'm not. You know what I'm saying? I know what racism is, and I know every last one of you know what racism is. So I'm just putting this here just so we can all know and stop playing. We got William Shorter, 17, Winchester, Virginia. Assault on a white woman. He was 17. Remember what they're saying. Assault on a white woman in those times. Anything could be said. There's no information. They just lynched him. They just killed him. Henry Smith, 17. Right? Another one, 17. Kidnap and murder of white girl. Smith confessed under duress. Tortured, burned with hot irons, doused in oil, and set on fire. His remains were sold as souvenirs. Do you understand that? This young man was 17, right? He was kidnapped, and no, he was charged with kidnapping and murdering a white girl, right? But peep game. Smith only confessed under duress, but look at the kind of duress that they put him under. Tortured him, burned with a hot iron, doused in oil, and set on fire. His remains were sold as souvenirs. So if his remains are sold as souvenirs, how do you think the community of the people who bought it, how do you think they were treating the black people? How do you think they was coming at them? How do you think this whole structure was? This is letting you know if you did anything to a white person, it was going down. We don't hold those same accords. Our thing is marching. Yeah, sure, we giving it up right now, right? And, but that's now. I'm saying, and that's why I support the people now. This is why I support them. Fuck that. Even if they don't know why they doing it, it's deep inside them. It's been years of complaining. You know what I'm saying? Now, he was an adult. I don't know. He said, attack on a white girl. Like I said, when he says it's vague, who knows? And so I don't know. Charles Willis, African American. He's from Rockville, um, Florida, right? Shot and burned in bed. He was charged with being a desperado. Oh shit. You know, a historical legal system, an outlaw is one declared outside. See, he was basically an outlaw. Kudos. I'm gonna look you up. You know what I'm saying? Murder. He was lynched by a mob after escaping from jail. Okay. Hanged and shot. Um, Emmett driver. I thought they had something on them. Um, Horrible fury of the mob. 500 horsemen hung from bridge until dead, taken down and hung a second time from a telegraph pole at a fairground at the request of the murdered woman's husband. John Williams Kane's body cabin burned. Murder of a white woman, Jenny E. Kane. Do you understand what this is? Action. They're not saying okay because you killed mine, we're gonna protest and all of this and wait for verdicts because the American justice system is set up for other reasons. It's not for us and it's not for these type of things. You know, when they send us to jail, that's for financial things. You know, like taxes. Like don't get it twisted. When they send criminals to like drug dealers to jail, that's think about what they're charging for room and board and all of that. They just basically getting their money back on you. You know what I'm saying? They supplied you with the drugs and all of that. Then, you know, they're gonna get their money back in another way. You know, it's just what it is. But just pay attention to the treatment. You know, and the manner in which it is done. Right? Um, Alfred Daniel, African American, from Gainesville, Florida, suspicion of arson, burn, barn burning, no evidence, taken by a mob on way to jail, hanged and shot. That don't sound like the young kid who was jogging and they thought he was inside there stealing, so they chased him down and just basically shot him. Police, all of that, you know, like with the, you know, involved with the law enforcement and all of that. These don't seem like those same traditions. These stories ain't in those headlines. Just the people just being them. And you're saying it's the police, and no, the police are listen, it's that whole system. And I'm just showing you just on this side of how they giving it up. You know what I'm saying? Just on this side. Look, he was an adult. This guy is only 20. Assaulting a young girl, nothing, just killed him. Hanged and shot by mom for rape, right? Um, Appointed postmaster. Look, grand jury did not indict since it was a federal crime. Attack on a postmaster. There were 13 federal indictments, no one convicted. Look, you working for the feds. You thinking, okay, you at least protected. They know not. Listen, man, even in the feds, they didn't care. Nigga, you black. All of that, even where you at, you only there for them to serve their purpose. You cattle. Okay, well, you know, shit didn't work. 13 people and not one conviction. Pay attention, people. Pay the fuck attention. Okay? African American, Alexandria, Virginia. attempting to criminally assault a 8-year-old white girl, hung from a lamp post at Cameroon and Lee Street, site of several lynchings. Yeah, I don't know. This see most of the time these stuffs be the most bogus, man. Sam Hugh, about 24, African American, New Noonan, Georgia, killed his white employer in self-defense. Accusations of rape added to incite lynching. Body parts for sale in a store, widely publicized and privately investigated. Let's see. You see this right here? Sam Host, aka Sam Holt, aka Samuel Thomas Wilkes. Nee Tom Wilkes was an African American who was tortured and executed by white lynch mob. Do you see this, man? Pay attention, man. You know, that was, and mind you, that's all in the 19th century. We didn't even touch, the 20th century. Do you understand? I'm sorry, I'm over here. I'm looking at things at the same time. You know, are y'all not understanding that racism is a system? You know, when you allow a white person to tell you they didn't know, they showing that racism is thriving because they see your ability to give them a pass no matter what. They know that, and if they see it, they've been seeing the grip loosening, and so they've been, elevating 20 rounds, 30 rounds, 40 rounds, 50 rounds. You understand what I'm saying? So now it's just like, okay, let's take it to other levels. Let's put knees on them. Let's cover them. Let's do everything to let them know that, yo, listen, this is just what it is. Now either you gonna get it in shape or not. And we got your community leaders, they gonna vouch for us. We got the celebrities who's gonna vouch for us. We got everybody to keep y'all in order. You know, I'm slide out for right now. Until the next time, this is Smoking Jokes with your boy Juice Wanna. I hope you learned a little something about racism. Peace.